The Los Angeles Clippers built a team to win a championship centered around a massive contract for Kawhi Leonard. But a paper trail inside a completely separate bankruptcy case has allegedly exposed a secret payment scheme that could unravel everything. On September 3, 2025, reports surfaced alleging the Clippers funneled an extra $28 million to Leonard through a third-party company funded by owner Steve Ballmer. Now, the NBA has launched a full-scale investigation into what one source called a blatant attempt to circumvent the salary cap. The league office was made aware of a bombshell report from journalist Pablo Torre. His investigation uncovered documents from the March 2025 bankruptcy filing of a sustainability company named Aspiration. Those filings listed a creditor named KL2 Aspire LLC, a company managed by Kawhi Leonard himself, which was owed $7 million. This wasn't a random debt. It was reportedly one of 4 identical payments in a 4-year, $28 million endorsement contract signed in 2022. The problem is, this was allegedly a no-show job. Torre's reporting found zero public evidence of Leonard ever endorsing or even mentioning Aspiration, a stark contrast to other celebrity endorsers. The deal was supposedly structured so Leonard could collect millions for doing absolutely nothing, with one contract clause allowing him to decline any promotional activity he wanted without penalty. Even more damning, the payments were contingent on him remaining a player for the Los Angeles Clippers. The money trail starts with the team's billionaire owner. Steve Ballmer had personally invested $50 million into Aspiration just before the company signed its deal with Leonard. This occurred about a month after Leonard signed a 4-year, $176 million extension with the Clippers in August 2021. A former finance employee at Aspiration was quoted as saying the deal was to circumvent the salary cap, LOL. The league's collective bargaining agreement is the hero of this story, a document designed to ensure a level playing field for all 30 teams. That CBA strictly prohibits any unauthorized agreements that provide players with compensation outside of their official contracts. This is the bedrock of competitive balance. The Clippers, in this narrative, are the villains, allegedly trying to shatter that balance with off-the-books cash. The league immediately responded to the reports, with NBA spokesman Mike Bass confirming on September 3rd. We are aware of this morning's media report regarding the LA Clippers and are commencing an investigation. The Clippers and Steve Ballmer issued a swift and forceful denial. In a public statement, they called the notion that Ballmer invested in Aspiration to funnel money to Kawhi absurd. They claimed to be victims themselves, stating that Aspiration's co-founder, Joseph Sandberg, defrauded them along with numerous other investors. Sandberg recently pleaded guilty to federal wire fraud charges totaling over $248 million, lending some credence to the idea that Aspiration was a criminal enterprise. The team statement argued, "There is nothing unusual or untoward about team sponsors doing endorsement deals with players on the same team." They insist that neither the organization nor Ballmer had any oversight of Kawhi's independent agreement with the company. The Clippers also noted that they ended their relationship with Aspiration during the 2022-23 season after the company defaulted on its sponsorship obligations. They have pledged their full cooperation with the NBA's investigation. This isn't the first time the Clippers have been under the microscope for how they acquired Kawhi Leonard. Back in 2019, the league investigated claims that Leonard's uncle and advisor, Dennis Robertson, asked rival teams for improper benefits during free agency. Lakers owner Jeannie Buss reportedly refused such requests, calling them illegal. The NBA's initial probe found no evidence of wrongdoing by the Clippers, but this new paper trail has reopened old wounds and suspicions. The potential consequences for the Clippers are catastrophic, and the NBA has a clear precedent for punishment. In 2000, the Minnesota Timberwolves were caught in a secret agreement with free agent Joe Smith, promising him a massive future contract if he signed for below-market deals in the short term. Then Commissioner David Stern brought down the hammer. The league voided all of Smith's contracts with the team, fined the Timberwolves $3.5 million, and stripped them of 5 first-round draft picks. Furthermore, owner Glenn Taylor and general manager Kevin McHale were both suspended for a year. If the NBA's current investigation finds the Clippers guilty of a similar level of salary cap circumvention, the penalties could be just as severe. The CBA allows for fines up to $7.5 million, the forfeiture of draft picks, and the suspension of any team personnel involved, from the owner down. Most critically, the league has the power to void any player contracts connected to the circumvention. The mid-video reveal is the bankruptcy filing itself, a public document that unintentionally became the biggest receipt in sports. The smoking gun is the listing of KL2 Aspire LLC as a major creditor. The name itself is a tell. KL for Kawhi Leonard, and 2 for his jersey number. This wasn't some hidden offshore account. It was a California-based LLC with Leonard listed as its manager, sitting plainly in a legal document for anyone to find. A source inside Aspiration claimed Leonard's deal was larger than all their other celebrity endorsements combined. This evidence transforms the story from gossip into a federal paper trail. It connects a fraudulent company, a billionaire NBA owner's investment, and a superstar player's pockets. The alleged goal was simple: to give the Clippers an unfair advantage by paying their star player more than the rules allow, thereby preserving cap space to sign other talent. It's a direct assault on the principle of fair play that underpins the entire league structure. The public reaction has been swift and brutal, with fans and media figures alike condemning the alleged scheme. The focus has turned to both Ballmer's immense wealth and Kawhi's famously quiet persona, questioning how such a deal could be struck in secret. The shadow of the Donald Sterling scandal, though years in the past, still lingers over the Clippers franchise, making this new controversy even more damaging to their reputation. The timeline of events raises significant questions that the Clippers' denials have yet to answer. Leonard signed his 4-year, $176 million extension in August of 2021. Just 1 month later, in September 2021, Ballmer personally invested $50 million into Aspiration, a company that also inked a massive $300 million arena sponsorship deal with the Clippers that same month. By November 2021, Leonard had officially registered his KL2 Aspire LLC, and the alleged $28 million no-show endorsement contract began in April 2022. The sequence appears incredibly convenient, creating a direct financial pipeline from a company Ballmer funded to a company Leonard managed, all within months of his new contract. The Clippers claim they were victims of Aspiration's fraud, but the contract between Leonard and Aspiration contained a clause that feels like a failsafe. The deal would reportedly terminate if Leonard was no longer an employee of the Clippers, directly tying the off-the-books payments to his on-court status with the team. This detail makes it difficult to argue the endorsement was entirely independent of his Clippers employment. Further complicating the Clippers' defense is the context of Aspiration's own internal chaos. While the company was defaulting on its sponsorship payments to the Clippers during the 2022-23 season, sources reported that making the quarterly payments to Kawhi Leonard was considered priority one. Even as the company was collapsing under the weight of its own fraud and heading towards a March 2025 bankruptcy, the checks to Leonard were a top concern. This suggests the payments were not just another business expense but a critical obligation, possibly influenced by the powerful investor behind the scenes. The NBA's investigation will have to cut through these layers of corporate filings and denials. The league has described salary cap circumvention as a cardinal sin. They are not just investigating a minor infraction, they are examining an alleged conspiracy to undermine the economic foundation of the league. The current collective bargaining agreement outlines specific penalties for a first offense, a fine of up to $4.5 million, and the loss of 1 first-round draft pick. However, the CBA also grants the commissioner broader powers, including the ability to void contracts entirely. In the Joe Smith case, the league's punishment was designed to be a deterrent that would echo for decades. The Timberwolves signed Smith to 3 consecutive 1-year deals for far below his market value. The handshake agreement was that after the 3rd year, the team would have his bird rights and could sign him to a massive contract worth up to $86 million, circumventing the cap in the process. When the scheme was exposed during a lawsuit between Smith's agents, David Stern's reaction was swift and merciless. He didn't just fine the team, he crippled their future. Losing 5 first-round picks, though 2 were later returned, sent a clear message: the integrity of the salary cap was non-negotiable. The scandal essentially destroyed that iteration of the Timberwolves, who were trying to build a contender around Kevin Garnett. The lost draft picks robbed them of the young, cheap talent necessary to support a superstar, and they struggled for years to recover. If the NBA finds that the Clippers' actions were a similarly egregious attempt to gain an unfair advantage, Commissioner Adam Silver will be under immense pressure to act decisively. A simple fine would be pocket change for Steve Ballmer, the wealthiest owner in professional sports. Losing one future draft pick, especially when the Clippers don't control their own first-rounder until 2027, might also be seen as a slap on the wrist. The true power lies in the commissioner's ability to void Leonard's contract. Such a move would be an earthquake for the league. It would immediately make Leonard an unrestricted free agent and erase the cornerstone of the Clippers franchise. The team traded a treasure trove of assets, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and multiple first-round picks, to acquire Paul George and create the cap space to sign Leonard in 2019. To have it all undone by an off-the-books payment would be a failure of historic proportions. The fallout from this investigation will define the next era of the Clippers. If found guilty, losing draft picks would cripple their ability to build for the future. A suspension for Ballmer would create a massive leadership vacuum. And the ultimate penalty, voiding Kawhi Leonard's contract, would instantly dismantle the team they've spent half a decade and hundreds of millions of dollars building. It would be a franchise death sentence. The CBA was designed to protect the league from its wealthiest owners, preventing them from simply buying championships. This case is the ultimate test of that system. The league office is now the hero, tasked with defending the integrity of the game against a powerful owner. The villain aimed to destroy the league's competitive balance, but ultimately destroyed themselves.